Good evening, everyone. I wonder why you're here. I'm Fred Plotkin, in case you don't know. And tonight I have to ask your indulgence as I lisp a lot. I broke a tooth at a restaurant the other night. But because they're making good on my dentist, I won't say the name of the restaurant. But Luciano Pavarotti, world famous, of course, and I were very close friends for 29 years. So that I tonight thought it important, as his 90th birthday would have been October 12th, that I gathered three great artists to talk about Luciano from their different perspectives, one of whom sang with him a lot. We have two, I never say old friends, I say longtime friends, Lawrence Brownlee and Claudia Catania, and a new friend, Freddie De Tommaso. And would you please welcome them? And by the way, all of you standing here, please go up to the library and you can watch the stream up there because this is not safe. I can't start till you go. And I don't want you to miss it, so go up to the library.
Goodbye, friends.
All right. So, please, you can't stay, I'm sorry. Go to the library, please. It's not safe, it's a fire hazard. Thank you very much. So, you all remember my friend Julian, the wonderful master of technology in the booth. Julian, please play number 1 and just listen.
La notte a mezzo aprir e azzurro è ciel, la luna è senza vel. Azzurro è ciel, la luna è senza vel. Tutte languor, pace, mistero, amor, ben mio perché ancor non vieni a me, già forman laure d'amore accenti del rio nel murmure sospiri senti, ben mio perché ancor non vieni a me, perché ancor non vieni a me, poi quando sarò morto piangerai, ma richiamarmi in vita non potrai. Poi quando sarò morto ti piangerai, ma richiamarmi.
Julian, set up number 2, please. Many of you know that I worked for many years at WQXR Radio, not as a critic, I don't do that, but as their opera expert, and I wrote more than 600 articles. And when he died, 10 years later, I wrote an article that you could find on September 5th, 2017. And I'll read you one paragraph that I wrote then, and I believe it'll set the tone for tonight. Simply put, Pavarotti had an incomparable voice, perfect diction, a connection to the humanity of every character he sang, and a winning personality that made him irresistible to all who heard him. It has become a bit of a cliché among some opera lovers who called him a lazy artist who did not fulfill his potential. I disagree. He was a glorious performer whose particular gifts and training made him unique. So now that we've heard the voice and we know what we recognize, and by the way, he said that God kissed his vocal cords. And I think he was right. He was not bragging about that. He just felt he and Leontine Price were the two where God kissed their vocal cords. The others We hope so, but those two we know. So please play number 2, Julian, and you can watch Luciano as well. He'll be up there, just to get a sense of the man. I know you know him, but...
È la solita storia del pastore. Il povero ragazzo voleva raccontarla. Nel sonno l'oblio, come anch'io vorrei dormire così, nel sonno almeno l'oblio trovare, la pace sole cercando io l'ho.
So that was Il Lamento di Federico, Freddie's Lament, from the opera La Louisiana by Chilea. And Luciano was a very caring friend, and because he sang this aria a lot and he sang it so beautifully, whenever he and I were talking, a problem might come up about something that one of us would be facing, he would say either non dobbiamo lamentare or non devi lamentare, Federico. In other words, don't worry about it. It'll take care of it. And one of the things that I think I most loved about him, apart from the great artistry, is that he had an incredible gift for friendship that I think we'll come up with a lot tonight. He was born October 12th, 1935 in Modena. And a few months before, a little girl named Morella Freni was born in the same town. And their mothers worked in a tobacco factory together. And because they were handling tobacco all day, they couldn't breastfeed. So there was a wet nurse who was the wet nurse for both Morella Freni and Luciano Pavarotti, if you can imagine. And Morella famously said you could see who got all the milk. And during World War II, this is a story that's not often told, though it's in the excellent documentary that was made by Ron Howard and his team about Luciano, that during World War II, he developed tetanus, which was not then a shot, it was not a treatment. And they thought he was going to die. And he was the only boy in a family. There were lots of girls and women. And he was much loved. And somehow he survived. And he told me, when he would always say, non devi lamentare, that he felt freedom as a result of having survived that illness. And it made him very sensitive to children in war and to children who were suffering. And you know that he built many hospitals and institutions around the world in places where there was war, specifically children's wings and children's hospitals, including one right down the street here. By the way, I meant to say to you, Stefano Albertini is in Italy. He sends his regards. He's director of the Casa. And you'll see him on December 15th when I have Latanya Moore on the stage, so mark your calendars for then. Luciano and his father, who was a baker, loved to sing together. And Luciano always said that his father was a better singer than he was, but had stage fright. But they were members of a men's choir that went to Wales, I believe 1955, and won the choir competition in Wales. And that was when Luciano, at the same time, knew his friend Morella, who married a man named Leone Magera, a wonderful conductor who's still with us and still talking and teaching and so on. And even after Freni and Magera divorced, they all worked together a lot. And this musical nucleus in Modena was very important. And Magera helped prepare Luciano for the stage when Luciano said, maybe I don't want to be a goalkeeper in soccer. He was the tallest one. And maybe I don't want to be an Italian language teacher, though he was a very good one. And Julian, set up number 3, please. Luciano made his debut in January of 1961, not in Modena, as is often said, but in nearby Reggio Emilia, which is the other Aceto Balsamico city. And I happen to have a recording of him singing Che gelida manina, his first opera performance in 1961. So, if you please, Julian.
Et gelida manina, se la lasci riscaldar, per giova, al buia non si trova. Ma per fortuna era notte di luna, e qui la
And no, they were not all his family in the audience. Just another paragraph, my article, and then we'll leave my article from 2017. In my experience, no singer in Italian had more expressive usage of language than Pavarotti, even at the start of his career. One always knew when there was a single or double consonant, such as B, C, F, G, L, M, N, P, R, S, or T. Even if you do not speak Italian, you can watch and listen to him sing in a live performance of Quanto è bella, quanto è cara from L'Elisir d'Amore, and you always know if a consonant is single or double. So Julian, when you can, number 5, and then we're going to start talking to our guest artists.
Quanto è bella, quanto è cara, più la vedo e più mi piace, ma in quel cor non ne son capace, lieve affetto l'inspirar, essa legge, studia, impara, non va cosa d'essa ignota. Io son sempre un idiota, io non so che sospirar. Quanto è cara, quanto è bella, oh, quanto è bella. Son capace lieve affetto di respirar, dire che le cor non son capace, lieve affetto di respirar, lieve affetto. In quel cor non son capace, non son capace. Lieve affetto ad inspirar.
Okay. So, Julian, set up number 8, please. I met Luciano when he was singing in Un ballo in Maschera at La Scala in January of 1978, and we became friends very quickly. We ate a lot, and not just him. And we bonded more. We're talking about food and our mother's recipes. And I had a little place in Milan. He had a big place in Milan. And I'd go over to his place, and it was like a cooking, not competition, but it's like, you know, if Domingo and Pavarotti were singing an aria together, they'd outdo each other just a little bit. He was a billion times better singer than I am. I was a better cook than he was. And so he took advantage of that in a good way by saying, okay, you do it. And we discovered that because I learned my cooking in Bologna, where I studied, and he was from Modena, which is 30 miles away, that the foods were very similar, and therefore he felt very at home with my cooking. And later, when he sang here a lot and I moved home to New York and worked at the Met, a lot of our time was spent together just sort of cooking and eating and talking, cooking and eating and talking. And that's where the friendship was born. And I came to work at the Met in the early 1980s, and one of the young artists who was there at the time was named Claudia Catania, who I assume was from Italy, but she was from Philadelphia, right? Okay. And I went through, the other day I was reading her credits at the Met. I don't think anyone did more roles in her first year than Claudia. You did 10 different roles in 1981, which is remarkable, and then sang with Luciano in January of 1982. We'll get to that in a moment. But I also think you're, if not the only, one of the few people who sang with Pavarotti, Carreras, Domingo, Krauss, and Bergonzi. Wow. So,
I never thought I'd be glad to be old.
or to put it another way, Pavarotti, Carreras, Domingo, Krauss, and Bergonzi all got to sing with you. And I think I first got to know you on a production of Mozart's Idomeneo, which is a wonderful opera. It didn't come to the Met until October of 1982, and I was involved in the production, and Luciano sang Idomeneo, which was not his usual repertory, but James Levine persuaded him he could do it, and he could do it, of course. And you were in a cast that included Hildegard Behrens. In the first performance, Frederica von Stade, Ileana Kotrubash. Von Stade played Idamante, the son of Idomeneo, as a mezzo-soprano. Luciano played Idamante in the United Kingdom in the 1960s, when they did a rare performance of it, and they used a tenor, not a mezzo. Frederica von Stade had to withdraw from a couple of performances. So you got to play Luciano Pavarotti's son.
I did.
Talk about that. Hold the mic. Singers never use mics.
Okay, it's good. You know, as happens at the Met, I had not met Luciano Pavarotti. And Flicka canceled in the middle of a performance. And there I was on the stage with him. And we had a lot to sing together. And when the curtain came down, we met. And he was the kindest, gentlest man. and he was all about the music and all about the voice. And I'm looking here and I'm thinking, I'm sitting between two iconic today tenors. So you may say to yourself, what's she doing there? One of the reasons that I feel that I know him is that my voice teacher, Marlena Malas, and her husband, Spiro Malas, were very close friends of Luciano. So I have tons of funny Luciano stories, and about how he and Spiro, when they were poor, used to make grilled cheese on the radiator. And the first time that Luciano sang Nessun Dorma, he went to their house, and Marlena played it on the piano for him, and he sang it, and he said to her, "Do you think I can do this?" And she said, "Just a minute." And she went out into the back stairs of their apartment, and she said she sat on the stairs and she sobbed because it was so beautiful, and she knew that he was going to be the icon that he was at that moment. You know, so that's one of the reasons that I feel close to him. The other one is, though, that these gentlemen kind of don't know because they're too young, but young. We all knew who he was at the Met. We knew he was a treasure. We knew he was a gem. We knew we needed to protect him and take care of him. A rehearsal would start, "No Luciano," and we would wait, "No Luciano," and more, "No Luciano." Then the door would open, and in would come Luciano with like 5 or 6 boxes that looked like pizza boxes because he discovered Dunkin' Donuts. And he brought Dunkin' Donuts for everybody. But I want to tell you one story that just shows you who he was. He was doing Puritani at the Met, and Cynthia Munzer was doing it with him. And she was coming down the hall one way, and he was coming the other way. And he saw her, and he said, come with me. And she followed along behind him, and he went into a dressing room, and he opened the score, and he put it on the piano, and he said, "Play this." And she said, "You know, I loved him so much that for a minute I thought I could play the piano." And of course he had confused her with Joan Dornaman, who could play the piano. So that's one of my absolute favorite stories. But to sing with him on the stage was a voice lesson. Every time you were there, I was watching, and he used to talk to Marlena about the passaggio. Where does it start? Where does it end? Is it an E? Is it a nu? And you can watch him do it. And she said even when he was dying, he was calling her to talk about technique and talk about the passaggio. He was a brilliant man about singing, just the most. Yeah, so those are the things that
What was the sound like when you were right next to him?
It was the same vibration and beauty that it was if you were standing away. There was no sound like his. And on the stage, it was still that sound. No sound like his.
Playing his son in the Opera Domineo, which is a wonderful opera. It's too long, but it's a wonderful opera. No, there are ballets and there are lots of stuff in it, but it's a wonderful, wonderful opera. I forget the name of the tenor who sang it originally, but it was composed for the court of Munich, and it was Mozart's financially most successful opera in his lifetime. And the court of Munich had an elderly tenor who couldn't sing in a wide range of notes, and they had very talented sopranos and mezzos. So the roles, the sort of juicy roles, went to the women, and the elderly tenor got music that was composed within his range. Now, Luciano had a much larger range, obviously. It was not an elderly tenor in 1982. But it was, for many tenors, they do this later in their careers. And I've heard Ben Heppner and Placido Domingo and all kinds of tenors do it. It's a wonderful role, and it's a very dramatic role because he has to decide, must I kill my own son to satisfy the gods, this being in Greece, ancient Greece, in Crete, or do I walk away? And his acting with you and with von Stade was so tender,
It was
so paternal,
fantastic.
that anyone who said he couldn't act was not paying attention, because it was a father's anguish
Yes.
over the son.
Yes, yes.
After, I know you jumped in, but did you ever rehearse with him after? You just did
No.
later performances?
No,
with
we did performances together
Yeah.
that we were scheduled to do, but no, we never rehearsed.
Uh-huh.
No. But I remember those moments where he would turn away. You know, he was supposed to turn away from it. It was so powerful.
Yeah.
It was so moving.
It was great acting. So, Julian, I believe it's number 8, For del Mar, from Idomeneo, something that a lot of you have not heard Luciano sing, which is why I picked it. So, if you please, number 8.
Ore del mar, con mare in seno, che del primo è più funesto, che del primo è più funesto, è più funesto, è più funesto, è più funesto. E tu no, ancora in questo mai non cessa di minacciar, a minacciar. Mai non cessa di minacciar. E tu ancora in questo mai non cessa minacciar, non mi cessa minacciar. Fiero lume, dimmi almeno, se al naufragio è sì vicino il mio cuore, qual rio destino. Ora gli vieta il naufragar. Ora gli vieta il naufragar, il naufragar, il naufragar. Ore del mar, un mare in seno, e del primo è più funesto, che del primo è più funesto, è più funesto, è più funesto, è più funesto. E tu ancora in questo mai cessa di minacciare. Mai non cessa di minacciare. Bene tutto ad andare in questo. Mai non cessa minacciare. Non mi cessa minacciare. Non mi cessa minacciare. Non mi cessa minacciare. Non mi cessa minacciare.
So he could act, actually. His eyes were so expressive. And one of the many great things about him, in my view, is that the words that he was singing connected to the expression on his face. And it was not acting, it was connection. And that's something that I always felt with him. Claudia and Julian, set up number 9, please. You were also in a production of Verdi's Louisa Miller with him. And that production was challenging because there was a lot of cast rotation, let's put it that way. Katia Ricciarelli was in the title role, but then Adriana Maliponte came in. Jose Carreras sang the first Rodolfo, and I forget, John Alexander sang the second Rodolfo. Luciano sang the third Rodolfo, and then did 3 more. And it's the challenge of live opera, that if someone gets sick, it was January, people had colds, you make do with what's going on. Leo Nucci was in it for all, and Paul Pliska, John Cheek, and Bianca Barini. Does anyone remember Bianca Barini?
Well, I do.
I do, so you go first. Go ahead.
Well, she was a very great singer and an eccentric woman. Once she made the plane stop because her ears hurt and she had to get out in the middle of the runway. I mean, she was a problematic lady, but she could really sing. And yeah, that's what I
She was from
remember.
Trieste, and I knew her very well. I worked with her a lot. Freddie, I was telling you before that I had the responsibility at the Met. One of my jobs was to take care of, let's say, the singers who were problematic. And she was in my top 5. I'm not going to say the other 4, but she was definitely in my top 5 because she was a loose cannon. You just never knew what was going to happen.
She used to go around to all of the dressing rooms and close the windows.
Yeah.
When we weren't in there because she didn't want the air coming in, and we would all get into our dressing rooms and we would be sweating and we would say, "We'll close the windows." And it was
Bianca Berini. And because the Italians called it spifidi d'aria, in other words, like the little bit of a breeze or wind coming in, and they bundle up. That's why Luciano always wore scarves. Seriously, he was always wrapped up. And when I was with him, I would wear a scarf. He would sort of tighten it around my neck. He said, "You know, you have to take care." And it's an understandable concern, but Bianca Berini took it to a new level. I suppose Halloween is almost here, so I guess it's Bianca Berini time. But she thought of herself to be stregata, to be bewitched, and could practice witchcraft. And she would go around when she played Azucena, she was playing herself. And I just mentioned that because she was one of the many figures around the Met in the 1980s who people don't remember now. And, you know, we're remembering Luciano in a very different way. But she was someone you had to contend with. And on the stage, entirely unpredictable, which was a good thing because she was a very effective performer. Very exciting on the stage, never boring. But with her as Federica and you as Laura, it was a very tense situation. But great, great performances. Do you have any particular recollections about the opera Louisa Miller and that production?
Well, what I remember is Leo Nucci was the anchor of one of the anchors of the production. Wonderful baritone, was there for all of them. But he also was Italian. And when Luciano arrived, which was, oh, I'm sorry, thank you. I wondered, thank you. When Luciano arrived, Leo was trying to help him. He didn't arrive until the final dress. So Leo was trying to help him know where to go. And I remember he said to him in Italian, "Don't worry about me. Just do what you're going to do. I am so nervous to sing this that I won't remember anything you tell me." And it was interesting that
Yeah. But great. And Luciano once said to me that the 3 arias he most loves singing, not the best arias, but the ones he most loves singing, were Il Lamento di Federico that we heard before, Una Fortiva Lagrima that I'm not going to play because you all know it. I don't have to play that for you. You can find it at home. And from Louisa Miller, Quando le sere al placido. So Julian, if you please, number 9.
Se mortali ed angeli attestare mi volesse che la non è rea, mentite, io risponder dovrei, tutti mentite. Son cifre Quanta perfidia, un'alma sì nera, sì mendace. Bella conobbe il padre, ma dunque i giubi, le speranze, la gioia, le lagrime, l'affanno, tutto è menzogna, tradimento, inganno.
Julian, sit up number 11, please. Claudia, in my research, I discovered something that I didn't remember, forgot, whatever. Many of you, not you youngins, but many of you other people here may remember that there was a suicide at the Metropolitan Opera in January of 1988, and I was performance manager, and I was the person who had to cancel the performance and identify the body because I knew who it was, and deal with the police and deal with 4,000 people. The opera was Verdi's Macbeth, and the tenor that day complained that I canceled the performance so he could not sing his third act aria. And I said, well, we have a dead person in the auditorium. But, and the police, because it was a live broadcast, it attracted all kinds of international media. And with ABC and CBS close by, they descended on Lincoln Center Plaza. It was chaos. Well, it was actually not. It was very well run. But it was sad above all. And because Peter Allen, who was the broadcaster, said a member of the audience is taken ill. And in so doing, the relatives of 4,000 people started calling the Met switchboard to find out. And I had to also get the evening cast in because I decided we're not going to cancel Louisa Miller tonight. Carlo Bergonzi was singing, Claudia was singing, Wolfgang Brendel, Mignon Dunn, Nello Santi conducting. I was not canceling. And so I had to empty the auditorium, have the police do their investigation. The woman who was the witness to this, I gave her 3 scotches because, and she said, it's not often I have a handsome young man buy me 3 scotches. I'm going to take advantage of it. I was wearing my tuxedo, and she was 85 and cool as a cucumber and identified and did everything she needed to do. But I don't drink when I'm working, and I don't drink much when I'm not working, but I definitely don't drink when I'm working. And I remember that I had to get their show on at night. And so it was hard to empty the auditorium and deal with all this stuff. And the whole company was very shook up, so I sort of had to calm all of you guys down. And during Act 1 of Louisa Miller, Luciano called me up and he said, Vieni dopo che ti preparo qualcosa. In other words, come on over, I'll cook for you tonight. And because he understood some of what was going on because he heard the radio broadcast and everybody contacted him, are you okay? And so his act of friendship was very simply to say, when the show is over, I'll be up, just come by to 59th Street and I'll cook something. And that's how I sort of came down from that performance. And I forgot that you were singing that night. So anyway, Freddie De Tommaso, Signore, I want to thank the Metropolitan Opera for the courtesy of having Freddie De Tommaso and Lawrence Brownlee join us tonight. Both are singing at the Met right now. Both are among the greatest tenors of today. Both have sung music that Luciano and many other tenors sang. And you, Freddie, made your Met debut last year. November 12th of 2024, in Tosca, which was one of Luciano's later roles at the Met, with Lisa Davidson singing, and Quinn Kelsey, who was on the stage, a wonderful cast, Yannick Nézet-Séguin conducting. And you grew up in London, correct, or near London?
Yes, near London,
Yes.
in Kent.
In Kent.
Which
That's
is just, south.
That's the garden of the UK,
Yeah,
right?
yes,
Okay.
yeah,
So,
exactly, yeah.
and your family is from Puglia.
Yes, my father's side
Father's
is from
side.
Puglia, yeah.
So, being of Italian extraction, as we say in America, but growing up in the UK, Luciano had a huge impact in the UK, as he did everywhere, but a lot of his early successes were there, singing in Wales as a very young man. In 1963, when he was singing, I think in Ireland, and Giuseppe Di Stefano was singing in Rigoletto at Covent Garden, and Di Stefano had to cancel, and Joan Ingpen, who was then the artistic manager there, later at the Met where I worked with her, heard about this young tenor in Ireland and brought him to London, and that was his Covent Garden debut. He mostly sang La Bohème as his calling card opera in a new opera house, but in this particular case, he sang in Rigoletto. And Luciano sang constantly in the UK. He famously sang in Hyde Park in a rainstorm, and Lady Diana was there, and everybody had their umbrellas up, and she closed her umbrella and sat in the rain so that everybody else could shut their umbrellas down and watch Luciano. And the two of them were very committed to child welfare and safety and the issue of landmines. And the two of them would travel to war zones to perform for children, to hug children, to, when there were orphans, help them. Because, as I said, Luciano, from early on, was very sensitized to the welfare of children, which is why killing your own son, for him, was incredibly powerful as a subject that maybe he didn't articulate for the public. But growing up, because you're a young man, so in your parents' generation, did they know of Luciano? Did they hear him? Did they talk about him?
Yeah, yes, definitely. And my mum and my auntie went to the Hyde Park and stood in the rain. So they were there. And also, I remember as a child, the last time that Pavarotti sang in England in the Royal Albert Hall. He did a concert there, and there were a few kind of VIP tickets which you could buy, which were on the stage, and my parents sat in some of those, so they were really kind of close.
Yeah.
So yeah, and actually the thing. So
Yeah.
you saying where I grew up. My town, Tunbridge Wells, is about 40 minutes away from Glyndebourne.
Yeah.
And I know that Pavarotti sang in Idomeneo there as Idamante, and with Richard Lewis singing Idomeneo.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did this transmit to you and interest you in opera, and how did you become aware of Luciano, his legacy at least?
So my parents' interest in it meant that they played it at home in the car, and my father was a chef and restaurateur. So in his Italian restaurant in Tunbridge Wells, he would play opera, and one of my earliest memories of any opera of any kind is when I was sitting in the restaurant, maybe about 6 or 7 years old, and Pavarotti singing La Donna Immobile over the sound system whilst I was having lunch. That's a very nice memory.
Serious question. Can one eat and listen to fantastic music? No, I mean, with Luciano, when we ate, there was nothing on, nothing playing in the house. Ever.
Yeah.
Because even, I mean, not any kind of, not Lucio Dallo, who we loved, popular Italian music. Nothing.
Yeah.
Were you able to eat?
Yeah, we could. Yeah.
And so I have to ask, your family was from Puglia.
Yeah.
It's an area of great chefs, of great cuisine. What did they serve in the restaurant?
Oh, all sorts. Pasta, obviously, a lot of pasta, meat and fish. It wasn't a pizzeria. There wasn't any of that, unfortunately. Although my dad made it at home sometimes. Yeah, it was great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Next time I'm over in the UK, I'm skipping London. I'm going right to Kent, Tunbridge Wells. Freddie, one of the pieces, I asked you to name some of the pieces you might want to hear us sing, have Luciano sing, and you picked Vesti la Giubba from Pagliacci.
Yeah.
Why that one?
Just, you've spoken a lot about his portrayal of, just in his eyes, in the characterization, and that in that aria, I find his performance so moving. It's so intense in the truest sense. Whichever kind of videos you watch, you see a man completely destroyed when he sings that aria. It's incredible. Yeah.
So let's hear Julia number 11, Vesti la Giubba.
Recitar mentre preso dal delirio non so più quel che dico e quel che faccio e pagliaccio. Vesti la giubba e la faccia infamina, la gente paga per ridere vuole queste arlecchine, chi ne vola colombina, ridi pagliaccio e ognuno applaudirà. Tramota i lazzi lo spasmo e le pianto, in una smore fiale singhiozzo e il dolore. Ridi pagliaccio sulle che t'avvelerò il cuore.
So, Freddie, right now you are appearing in La Boheme at the Met. And by the way, it'll be in HD on November 8th, but much as I love HD, it's better to go hear it in the house. Now, I know that production very well. Everybody does. We've seen it. Because I worked on it when it was new. It opened December 14th, 1981, with Teresa Stratas as Mimi, Renata Scotto as Musetta, having retired Mimi, and she moved to Musetta. She said, "It's more fun, I don't die." And Jose Carreras, directed by Zeffirelli and designed by Zeffirelli. And later, every great tenor passed through it, including Luciano. What's it like to sing on that set, knowing that Carreras climbed over the balcony and Luciano attempted to climb over the balcony and Placido didn't go near the balcony and a lot of the other, Neil Chekhov jumped over the balcony, but you are literally standing on a set that has had, there are very few sets like this in the world. They've had all of these artists who are the great artists of which you're now the latest.
Yeah, it's, I mean, in a word, it's awesome. It's not, I really find it, it's not lost on me, that sensation of, wow, as you say, all these great artists from well before I was even born have stood on those boards, sat on the chair, held the cuffietta, all that stuff. It's amazing. It's absolutely. It's very humbling, I must say. Yeah.
What I appreciated very much this time when I saw it last week, you and your cast members, I didn't know the soprano, and she's Juliana. Juliana is
Yeah.
pronounced Juliana
Yeah.
Gregorian.
Gregorian, yeah.
Was fantastic.
Yeah, she's great, isn't she?
I didn't know her at
Yeah.
all, and she's really, the whole cast was great.
Yeah.
You included. But, you know, when I decided that I was going to leave the Met because I missed Italy and I wanted to move back to Italy and work in Italy, and that does not require explanation, but I decided to leave in 1988. 2 weeks, not because of the suicide, I had already given my notice, but that was like, okay, you got to go. And I decided that it would either be Siegfried with Hildegard Behrens, which is a pretty great way to leave, but I can't have a party at 1 a.m. because Siegfried is so long. Or this production of La Boheme that I worked on that had Luciano Pavarotti, Mirella Freni, Barbara Daniels, and Thomas Hampson, with Carlos Kleiber conducting in his Met debut. So I did that. The show ended at like 10:30, and then Luciano had everybody over to his house. And when I got there, he said to me, "Okay, now you cook. You need a job. You cook." So I went in the kitchen, and it was an interesting way to sort of come down from leaving the Met, which I loved the Met, of course, but I decided I need to move on. And this time they were all singing. And I was in the kitchen, and I heard Freni and Pavarotti singing, and Hampson and Barbara Daniels. And it was really a wonderful way to leave. And again, an act of friendship on his part. I can recount many, many stories of his acts of friendship, not just to me, but to every single person who ever crossed his path. It seems he was an incredibly generous, kind person. This is not always said about him. Freddie, you asked me also, and Julian, please set up number 10. From Ballo in Maschera, which is another role he loved. I just want to warn you that the quality of the video and the audio is a bit mixed on this. It was taken from a live performance at La Scala December 30th, 1977, so I met him a week later. And it stars Luciano as Riccardo, Renato as Piero Cappuccilli, Amelia was Shirley Verrett. In other words, she was not singing the mezzo role. Oscar was Daniela Mazzucato, and Elena Obratsova, Claudio Abbado conducting. And I remember that at that time people were saying in Milan, nothing's good anymore. There's no good music. We don't have any good singers. And I would say, look at this cast. And you have Domingo, and you have all these people singing. No, it was better with Tebaldi and Callas. Well, no, it was pretty wonderful. So, Freddie, I picked this because I thought you would like it musically. It's a little rough. It's not high quality, but I think it's worth hearing. So, Julian, number 10. Because the picture was so bad. So they always say the difference between Wagner and Verdi is in Wagner they sing for hours but die quickly, and in Verdi they sing a shorter time but they take forever to die. This being an excellent example of a love scene, by the way, and a death scene, all at once, because he declares his love for Melia publicly, openly, and she has not, quote, compromised herself and was innocent. Why, Freddie, did you select this? I think you have great taste, but why this particular one?
It's particularly because when you sing the same repertoire as an idol, obviously you listen to their version a lot, and when I before making my debut in Ballet Masque, I listened to Pav singing that a million times, and it just really, I just love his portrayal of it. I think it's just pretty much perfect, and that's why.
So you remind me, I had invited Matthew Polenzani to join us tonight, but he's in Chicago. But he sent me a note that I thought I'd read part of. I would love to be able to join you, but I have to remain in Chicago for a couple of more days after the last Medea. I'm sad to say I never knew Luciano. I was able to meet him and shake his hand, but never had the opportunity to talk to him or pick his brain. There is no question that when it comes to pure vocalism, I think he was one of the greatest to ever do it. If I'm interested in knowing how a great singer negotiates difficult passages, I look to him before I look anywhere else. He was absolutely unimpeachable in my book, and even at the end, and I was lucky enough to have heard him starting in 1991, all the way through to one of those last Toscas at the Met, I still thought much of his sound was still alive and intact, a fact I find really astounding. I continue to love his singing even all these years after his death, and he sends best wishes to all of you. So now, Lawrence Brownlee, my friend. Larry and I, we go back a long way, by the way, and you were one of the first artists to join me on this stage a long time ago. And I first heard Larry on April 1st, 2001, and I'm not fooling. That was the National Council Grand Finals at a time when they ranked the winners. Now there are 5 or 6 winners, and they're winners, and the others are, almost winners. But at that time, they ranked them, and Larry placed first, singing. Deborah Voigt was the host, and Paul Nadler conducting. Languir per una bella from Rossini's Italiana in Algeri, one of the greatest operas of all. And Tonio in La Fille du Régiment, a mes amis, that he's singing right now at the Met splendidly. Larry, I have to ask you a question. You are now officially the hardest working man in opera. Anyone who's followed his career just in the past 2 weeks has known that he has been rehearsing La Fille du Régiment, which is a big sing, let's put it in perspective, but at the same time jumped in to a new production of La Sonnambula, replacing an indisposed colleague, for 2 performances, and rehearsing La Fille du Régiment during the day, and then opening spectacularly last Friday, I think it was the 17th, and I was there in La Fille du Régiment. And now you will be singing on New Year's Eve in a new production of I Puritani. Both big Luciano roles, but they're different kinds of roles, because this is bel canto. And in studying Luciano a bit in preparation for this, I realized it was right at his 41st birthday, October of 1976, that he began to migrate from the kind of roles that Larry does to the kind of roles that Freddie does. And that was with Il Trovatore. And then he started doing the Turandots, the Toscas, the Louisa Millers, and these roles that he had not been doing before. Let me ask both of you, because I'm not a tenor, I'm not a baritone, I'm not a bass, I'm not a soprano, I'm not a mezzo. Is the technique the same? How does one sing this music, and how does one sing that music?
I'd say it's completely the same. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just you use the instrument that you've got, and that's all it is.
Someone told me a long time ago is that you let the voice lead. And even at 52, almost 53 years young, you sing with the voice that you have. And so Recently, I retired the Barber of Seville, and not that I cannot sing it, but some of the hurdles singing Barber of Seville are not the hurdles that I have with other things. And so I can still do it. It's a lot more mileage on your voice when you sing it, especially when you think that at 25, 26, I was singing that professionally. So yes, I follow the voice, and the natural maturation of the voice should decide what you're doing. And so my voice hasn't developed into the more fuller lyric stuff that Freddie and other people, all of my colleagues have naturally. I've always had a higher lying, more leggero, lirico leggero voice, and so that has opened up things like Puritani and other things that sit sonambolo, as you mentioned, that seem to hang higher. The natural tessitura of my voice seems to be somewhat comfortable up there. So that's what I proceed with, what my voice is telling me. There's often a tug when you've been in a repertoire for a certain time that people start to say, hey, why don't you start singing these other things? But the people who've counseled me my whole career have told me to listen to the voice and not other people.
That's good. So, Julian, set up, you talk about where the voice sits. Set up number 18 that's only 56 seconds long. We're just going to hear it, and we can watch it if you want. And then set up number 14. So whenever you're ready, number 18, this is just for Freddie.
Now then, will you explain to our, show us the nail, explain to our audience why the nail?
Well, probably I don't know myself. I just know that in the theater is good luck, and then I always pick up when I found. More than one. Sometimes I go around with many. I put inside my shirts, and sometimes they even make me not very happy. I try to explain then the curve and the material is the good luck.
I see.
The curve is like the normal golden horn.
Yes.
And then he's lucky for this reason. Like you say, I touch wood. In Italy, we say we touch iron, and it is iron.
I see.
And it is the second good luck.
So, Freddie and Larry. I put them there before you came in. Another of my many jobs with Luciano was that I was the bearer of bent nails, and I would sort of strategically leave them around the stage or near the stage. And sometimes I would walk with him to the stage. He'd say, "Andiamo, devo cercare qualcosa." I have to look for something. Lo so, I know. And we would walk, and we would pass a bent nail that I left, and another one. No, non vedo niente. I don't see anything. Luciano, please, they're everywhere. And then the last one before the stage, there it is. Oh, thank God. We spoke in Italian, but in English you would say, thank God. So that's why they're there.
I found one on the stair on my Met debut night.
Oh, really?
On the stair before going up into underneath where Luciano Stelle. There was one on the stair.
How nice.
Yeah, it was great.
Strategically
So were you there?
placed.
No, I was in the audience. I was there. That was a big gala night.
But you hadn't.
No. I
sprinkling.
retired from there.
Yeah.
I love the place, but I'm not working there right now. I was in the audience that night for this huge event. It was a Puccini Gala. It was a wonderful film that Peter Clark narrated. It was a very big, your debut was a huge night at the Met last year. So Luciano, after his big success in 1963 at Covent Garden, Joan Sutherland and her husband, Richard Bonning, were looking for a good tenor who was tall, and Luciano was tall, to tour Australia, because they were going to do a big tour in 1965. And Luciano said to me that he learned more from Sutherland and Bonning than from anyone else in that trip, because he learned stage deportment, spontaneity, singing while listening to someone else and singing with them and not next to them, bonding about pacing and breathing and so on. He had plenty of education, wonderful teachers before, especially someone named Ettore Campogalliani. But for him, the experience of touring Australia that year in 1965 is what changed him and formed the partnership with Sutherland that continued until Il Trovatore at the Met in 1987. And so I want to play just beautiful music that they sang, Luciano and Joan Sutherland, in I Puritani, live. So Julian, set up 23, 24, and 25. Larry, you, among your many talents and gifts that reflect what Luciano did very well, is you're a wonderful colleague and listener on the stage when you sing with someone. And I know you've sung a fair amount with Lissetto Rapezo, who you'll be doing Puritani with. You did it in Paris, yes?
Yes.
Huge hit in Paris, that what my French friends told me. And right now you are singing with Erin Morley, who is a wonderful colleague of yours, and I want her on the stage one day. What's it like when you form artistic partnerships where you, and in this case the soprano, sing a lot of music together, and it goes beyond simply rehearsing in the notes of the performance, but there's something else that in Italian is called un'intesa, a sort of an understanding?
Oh my gosh, when I sit here and just some of the names you've mentioned, of course, Lisette and Aaron, and some of the colleagues that I've had the great pleasure of sharing the stage with, Joyce Di Donato is a dear friend of mine, of course, Renee Fleming. I got a chance to sing with Nadine again, but Elena Garancia, Anna Netrebko, some of these people, there's so many names and I don't want to leave anyone out. But the thing that I think helps is mutual respect, trust, friendship, a level of comfort. I don't think any of them believe that I am there for any other thing than to support them in the moment, that the moments they need support. And I feel the same thing is reciprocated. I remember my debut at the Met in 2007, the Barber Seville. And it was when Sam Raimi was the Basilio, and Joyce Di Donato was the Rosina, and Russell Braun was the Figaro, and John Del Carlo was the Don Bartolo, the late great John Del Carlo, and Claudia Waite was the Berta, and Benini, and all of those people. We were a family of support, and they had all made their Met debuts, but they were, Mark Showalter was the Fiorello, and all these people were pulling and wanting me to do my absolute best. So when I'm sitting there on the stage with all these people who I love and admire and have true friendships with them, and people that I respect so much for their level of artistry and what they put on the stage, it makes it easy. So when people are having this response, as you mentioned, in Paris with the Puritani, where we clicked, but off the stage, we're really good friends, and we care about one another. So it makes anything you're doing on stage a lot easier to do when you have someone that you truly believe you can create a special moment. I never get on the stage thinking about being perfect.
So you don't have to bring boxes of donuts.
I do not have to bring boxes of donuts, and I don't have to do anything like that. But in those moments, I really want to be a listener when they're singing, when they're talking. I want to listen. I want to make what they're doing more impactful. And so I get that same response when they're doing, it's the chance for me to have my big moment. And we're rooting for one another. So when you have those types of relationships, what you do on stage, the organic chemistry is not fake, but it's really real.
I want, when you go hear Larry in performances, to note that quality that he has. There are many artists who have it, but I hold him up as the paragon of that among our current group of singers that we have. So I could tell you so much more about my friend Luciano, but I want to just close with a couple of things. The woman who created this building, the Casa Italiana Zerilli-Marimò, was the Baroness Mariuccia Zerilli-Marimò. She used to sit in that chair. She adored opera. She had seats at the Met, La Scala, Bayreuth, Monaco, in other words, Monaco, not Munich, and really adored opera. And a lot of other people would come up to her and talk about gossip and social life. She said, no, we need to talk about opera because operas were sparing and saving, and sparing in the Italian sense. And they lived, Luciano and the Baronessa lived in the same building here in New York and were friendly. And I don't think she ever cooked for him, actually. Maybe her cook cooked for him, but they had a very respectful relationship. And her favorite song was Parlami d'amore Mariù, that he would sing. So in her honor, because it's because of her that I'm here. I thought we'd have Luciano sing Parlami d'amore Mario, and then 2 more quick numbers before we close. So Julia, number 23.
Come sei bella, più bella stasera, Mario. Splende un sorriso di stella negli occhi tuoi blu. Anche se avverso il destino domani sarà, oggi ti sono vicino perché sospirar, non pensare, parlami d'amore, Mario. Tutta la mia vita sei tu. Gli occhi tuoi belli brillano, fiamme di sogno scintillano. Dimmi che illusione non è, dimmi che sei tutta per me. D'amore, Mario. Gli occhi tuoi belli brillano, fiamme di sogno scintillano. Dimmi che illusione non è, dimmi che sei tutta per me. Parlami d'amore,
I know that somebody will leave here tonight saying it was a great evening and I love Fred's guests, but he didn't play Nessun Dorma. I didn't like it. So I have to play a little bit of Nessun Dorma. But what I want you to understand about that is that every person and being who ever heard Nessun Dorma sung by Luciano responded, because it was just something about his voice and the way he sang it and that Puccini music and so on. So Julia, number 24, please, so you can have a bit of Nessun Dorma. Freddie, I want you to know that was a British dog. That took place in the UK. And finally, we will never forget Luciano Pavarotti, but he would want you to say, non ti scordare di me, don't forget me. And so I want to close first by thanking Claudia Catania, Freddie De Tommaso, and Lawrence Brownlee, my wonderful guests, thanking all of you, thanking my friend Luciano and his family, and Julian, and thank Julian, of course. And if you'd play number 25.
Partirono le rondini dal mio paese freddo e senza sole, cercando primavere di viole, nidi d'amore e di felicità. La mia piccola rondine partì senza lasciarmi un bacio, senza un addio partì. Non ti scordar di me, la vita mia legata a te. Io t'amo sempre più, nel sogno mio rimani tu. Non ti scordar di me, la vita mia legata a te. C'è sempre un nido nel mio cuore per te. Non ti scordare di me. Non ti scordar di me, la vita mia legata a te. C'è sempre un nido nel mio cuore per te. Non ti scordare di me.
And thank you all very much.